I'm Amy Jo Martin. Welcome to the Why Not Now show. You know that thing you've been thinking about doing? Yeah, that one. Why not now? Have you ever actually taken the time to ask yourself, what's stopping me? Let's talk it through. This is your chance to give that idea the attention it deserves and take action. Each episode, I have a chat with a fascinating person, from entrepreneurs to athletes, celebrities, my parents, rocket scientists, and all walks of life. We talk through a critical time when they've asked themselves, why not now? We dissect that day or even that moment, step by step. Jessica Alba is on the show today, and she gets honest with me. You may know Jessica as the Golden Globe nominated actress from various TV series like James Cameron's Dark Angel, or from films like Fantastic Four and Into the Blue, among many others. Jessica is also a very successful entrepreneur. She's the founder of The Honest Company, which has been valued at more than $1 billion. In this episode, we talk through a very personal why not now that Jessica is navigating through right now. And I'm grateful for the candor and willingness to be fiercely honest about life, business, and fame. Being able to design my own day and do it in the most efficient way is a non-negotiable for me. I'm a bit of a time management nerd, so when I find something that allows me to be more efficient and effective to get the most out of my day, I want to share it with everyone. So here's the scoop. I have a new tool in my productivity tool belt, and it's called Monday.com. My team and I have never felt more organized professionally and personally. And my to-do list is no longer the boss of me. I feel more in control because every project, initiative, date, and task is captured and organized in one place. And my team is in the loop and involved every step of the way. We are in lockstep. Monday.com is like having a brand new operating system. Everything has its own home, deadline, you can see the team members associated with the tasks, and it's color coordinated, so you can easily navigate your own task list. We all have multifaceted jobs, businesses, and lives. With Monday, you're able to keep all of these components organized in their own compartments, but you're also one click away from seeing the big picture and how they all integrate together. Creating systems and procedures within your day and business saves a lot of time. For example, my team and I have a dedicated Monday.com board for this very podcast. Did you know that there are 28 steps involved in getting one podcast ready for air? It's the same exact process every single time. And it's a system that we have put into place. So we know the various key steps are assigned to certain people, and we've mapped out the entire process from start to finish within this one board. This allows us to be streamlined. It cuts back on the amount of emails exchanged as well as the amount of meetings needed. One feature I love is that my social media content calendar is built inside of Monday.com. I finally have one that I actually use, I like, and it's embedded into my overall calendar as well. Another feature we use every single day is the Google Doc integration. You know I love a good spreadsheet. I can pull them into Monday.com and edit them right there versus having 97 tabs open on my computer, which is extremely distracting and inefficient. If how we spend our days is how we spend our lives, then I can't think of anything more important than using the time in our days wisely. Head to hey.monday.com/Amy Jo Martin to start your free trial today. That's hey.monday.com/Amy Jo Martin. Jessica Alba, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you hopping on, and there's so much I hope we can get to. But first things first, can you tell me about a time when you had a big decision to make and you asked yourself, why not now?
Oh, probably choosing to conceive and have another babe.
That's a big one.
The big one, another human being, bringing them into this world. Yeah, this last baby was our first time actually trying or planning it. The other two were surprises.
Wow. Okay. So this is the first answer I've gotten like this. So congrats to you for being original and bringing it, right? So this is really interesting. So this was a very intentional decision, a very big one. And what I love to do is give listeners some insight on how you navigate between idea and action. And we know how these things happen, but how did you decide to actually do it? What was that process like for you?
It was first sort of like just thinking about the stress and realities of my business and my husband's business, and also our girls and where they're at in their lives, and just kind of thinking about we're transitioning from our first family home together into another home, and just kind of thinking about all the things that sort of had to fall into place. There's no ideal time or perfect time, I think, for most things to happen. I think things happen when they're supposed to happen, and you can prepare yourself as much as possible for them. And so I tried to check off the big things, like, are my children, most importantly, like emotionally ready to have another addition, and are Cash and I in a place in our relationship to take on raising another kid along with running both of our companies. And so we had to really evaluate where we're at as a couple, and where we're at as a family, and then where we're at with our businesses. And it all just kind of had to make sense. And then from there, it's sort of like you can't overthink or overcomplicate it, because it is kind of a complicated thing, and it's a blessing if it can happen for you, whether you do it naturally or not. It's complicated these days, especially when you're a little bit older. And so we're sort of like, hey, if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen, and if it's not, then it won't, and we'll just tackle each day at a time and kind of be in the moment. So that was sort of how we did it. So I definitely thought about it for a few years, but actually things lining up and going forward, it took a bit of time.
Well, I appreciate you being so honest, no pun intended, but with me here, because I've also heard you reference trusting your gut when it comes to business, and how, of course, we can have all the experience or potential, education, but when it comes down to it, you trust your gut. And on this show, we talk a lot about kind of knowing when to make things happen versus let things happen. So one of my questions for you,
yeah.
And this is coming from my personal, sometimes, well, in the past, I just have always kind of pushed on the gas, and I thought, well, I can make it happen. So why wouldn't I just, make it happen, especially as it comes to business. But do you have any things, any processes or any, things you might share about when to just let go and let things happen, and when to really push? Because you've accomplished so much in your life, and there must be some components of just making it happen, but then also sometimes got to give in. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think like my choices in business, or I guess business has been the biggest example of it, but also just family and all of that. Like, you can only set yourself up for so much, and I think being independent and self-reliant and being fulfilled as a person is like the number one thing. And I think since I was very small, since I can remember, I knew I always wanted to work on myself and I wanted to have a purpose. Literally since I can remember. So 3 to 5, I was like, I'm gonna do something with my life, and I wanna have a purpose, and I want to be meaningful in whatever I do. And I didn't want to just be another sort of person floating in the world or going through the motions. And that was important to me, even at such a young age. For whatever reason, I don't know where that drive came from. I think part of it is nurture, but it's probably a lot of nature. It's just in me. And then nurture, and like someone like my mom, who just was always kind of rebellious and not afraid to try things, that encouraged me and allowed me to think beyond, sort of the boundaries of my reality. So I just think in life, I always kind of approach things with like, do the work and put in the work to set yourself up for luck or chance or for things to come together. And if you want something in life, kind of work towards that. I mean, you can't, like, if I wanted to start The Honest Company right when I wanted to start it, I would have started it 4 years before I started it. And it wouldn't have been the right timing because the marketplace wasn't ready for it. And I wasn't emotionally ready for it either. I needed to go through painful times and rejection and refinement as a person and as a leader and as a business person to even get to the point to start a startup. I think you want something immediately and you want instant gratification, but sometimes it's sort of like those learning moments are the moments, and it's more about the journey than anything, and you have to enjoy the journey. When I was acting full time, I always sort of felt like I was as good as my last job, and my future was always so in flux, and it was so unpredictable, and I just felt so vulnerable. But when I started taking the approach, after I had my daughter, I really kind of switched my mentality of just being in the moment and enjoying the journey. I can't predict the outcome. I'm not in control of every single facet, but what I am in control of is my own personal happiness. I am in control of how I treat people, how I treat myself, how I interact with the world, how conscientious I am. And if I work on those things that are in my control, then things that are out of my control don't feel as unbearable, when unpredictable things happen. But when good things happen, I feel like I'm ready for them.
I have so many awesome takeaways from that. And thank you for also kind of sharing that. I didn't realize that you had the concept and the idea for The Honest Company 4 years prior. And that could probably really help some people right now who are thinking, they want to do something right now, but maybe it's just not the right time. And not only it's not the right, market, but also you personally need to go through things. And that question, when to make things happen versus let things happen, I've always kind of thought of it as a little bit of a one or the other, black and white. Sometimes I hit home runs and sometimes I crash and fall when I try to make things happen. But I really appreciate you talking about how you tee it up, you do everything you can, and then at some point you got to kind of let the universe decide what's going to happen next. And I appreciate that. So before hopping on with you, earlier today I asked on Twitter, I'm getting ready to speak with you. Does anyone have any questions? And this one individual said, yeah, how can I be her? And I thought, at first I kind of laughed and I thought, yeah, who doesn't want to be beautiful, successful entrepreneur, movie star, awesome family? And then I thought, wait, my guess is she would actually really want you to be yourself, of course. But then it occurred to me, on social media, we're so conditioned to show our highlight reels versus real life. And if we look at just that, the polished exterior, then it's just not real, right? Like you have a lot that goes on in your world that's not necessarily going to be things you're sharing on Instagram and Twitter and so on and so forth. How do you feel like we can continue to keep it real on social without kind of creating facades? Because so many people, I think, mistake what's real and what isn't.
I think it's a bit of a balance. I don't like to share all my business with people, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have a therapist that I go to deal with stuff when I'm going through tough times. And I don't think that, you know, the world is educated enough to deal with what I'm going through on a personal level when it comes to certain challenges. Some people really like reaching out to the world and sharing all of their business and their hardships. And that's fine. I think there's all different kinds of people. And I think that's what makes, you know, the world interesting is we're not all the same and we're not robots. So just for me personally, like, I don't need to share my dirt with people. I feel like people know enough about me.
Yeah, and I didn't mean that at all. You come across very real on social, regardless of what you're doing.
Is it all like sunshine and rainbows? Hell no. But it would be naive of anyone to think that my life was just handed to me and I just woke up and it all was this. You know, I definitely grew up with hardships, and it's that like chip on my shoulder that made me successful, that forced me to kind of think outside the box and pave my own way and overcome challenges. Because if I didn't do it for myself, no one was handing me a life of privilege or charm or success. And so I had to create it for myself. Where does that come from? I don't know. I think some of it is nature and some of it's nurture. I know I keep going back to that, but you either got the grit and the hustle and the creativity and the fearlessness to like do things that aren't comfortable, or you don't. And I don't think that it's wrong if you don't. I think it's more important that you know what you're good at, know what you're not good at, know what gets you up in the morning and excites you to be alive. That stuff is more important than, I guess, projecting onto someone else's reality your perception.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And it's actually an awesome transition into a question, and then we can hop into a couple rapid fire questions. But knowing what you're good at and what, you know, maybe what you aren't, a mentor of mine once said, you know, as a lesson that I've learned from him when it comes to being an entrepreneur and being focused, he said, figure out what you're uniquely qualified to do and do that, and then try to find a way to delegate or find other resources or something to do the other things. And we can't do that right away out of the gate. But right. What do you feel like you're uniquely qualified to do at The Honest Company?
Oh, gosh. It's hard because it's hard to think of yourself in that way, especially when sometimes I get so in the weeds. But I think I'm good at, because I don't have the history of the way things should be done or have been done, or I'm not bogged down with process or learning that or growing up with that. I always have like creative ways to get through challenges, and I think outside the box. And I think when you start a company, and even in running a company, you know, you need to rely heavily on process and people to get things done, but sometimes those ways don't always help you get through all the challenges. No two issues are the same or challenges are the same, and so I can kind of apply a more outside the box creative. And I also I see the big picture always. I don't get bogged down in what's right in front of me. I'm always looking. I'm already at the finish line, and I actually am excited about the journey. where sometimes people just like really need to know what their task is in the here and now, and what am I doing today, and am I chipping away at it? And they're very like those kind of people. And so I surround myself with a lot of those people because that's not what I'm good at. I'm good at like big vision, context, perspective, pulling yourself kind of out of the weeds and seeing the finish line and the point to all of it.
Well, and I respect the fact that just I can tell by researching and listening and seeing what I can learn online about your involvement with your company. You're not just the face. You obviously are very involved and know and have learned, everything you need to learn to do that, to be able to set the vision. And well, in many cases, the best leaders have that nonlinear philosophy and can see it before it's there. So props to you for doing what you're doing. I'm very impressed. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. I'm hopping in here to tell you about a new discovery of mine. I'm in love, and let me tell you, I've fallen hard. We all like our caffeine in the morning. I look forward to that first, second, and fifth cup of coffee in the morning, but now I exclusively drink Super Coffee. I'm such a fan that I actually invested in the company, the team, and their culture. The love for what I do every day makes me jump out of bed in the morning, but Super Coffee truly fuels that fire. It's fueled with positive energy, from the ingredients they use to their brand promise. Super Coffee removes the negatives like sugar and adds the positives like MCT oil and protein so that you can maximize your day. I have an embarrassing secret. I used to be addicted to diet soda. I'd roll out of bed and pop open a can before my eyes were even fully open. I had never been a huge coffee drinker, but when I gave up diet soda on July 12th, 2015, yes, the moment deserves an anniversary. It was a big deal. I needed another caffeine source at that point. For me, that meant coffee with lots of artificial sweeteners, with crazy ingredients I can't pronounce that made me crash by 2 p.m. or so. Well, not anymore. Super Coffee is different. As I mentioned, there's no added sugar, and some of the flavors I love have 10 grams of plant protein. Now, I'm not a big meat eater, so this really helps, and they've just added a few new flavors to their plant-based offering, like French vanilla and sweet cream. They only use ingredients that are great tasting, great for you, and sustain you for the long haul. Nothing shady, only positives. The taste is delish, I can tell you. Take it from someone who needs that extra flavor to enjoy the taste of coffee. And Super Coffee also comes in ground coffee, Keurig pods, creamers, and more on their website, drinksupercoffee.com. One of the things my team and I love most is that on drinksupercoffee.com, you can shop Super Coffee's wide variety of products based on your dietary needs, including gluten-free, plant-based, Whole30, keto, or even vegan, right there on their website. There's something for everyone. While you're on the site, go ahead and stock up because Super Coffee is hooking up Why Not Now listeners with a 25% discount. Head to supercoffee.com and use the code Why Not Now for your 25% discount on all products. drinksupercoffee.com is the only place this offer is available, and your discount works again for all products. Just use Why Not Now as your code, all one word. There are no restrictions. I'm an investor in Super Coffee because the founders truly do walk the talk. Yes, their coffee provides positive energy, but so does their company culture. Their founders are three brothers who share a work hard and be nice to people mentality, and they spread that throughout their culture at Super Coffee. They know the importance of having diverse perspectives at the leadership level, and I'm a fan of elevating women in leadership. In fact, one of my Renegade Accelerator grads, Jamie Christ, is one of those women. So once that positive energy arrives on your doorstep, hit me up on social at Amy Jo Martin and show me what flavors and products you went with. And bonus points if you try one of their seasonal blends. The company is growing quickly, and you'll probably start noticing Super Coffee in your local Walmart, Target, or Costco. They are now in over 30,000 retailers nationwide. To take advantage of your exclusive 25% discount, head to drinksupercoffee.com and enter Why Not Now at checkout. That's Why Not Now, all one word. drinksupercoffee.com is the only place this offer is available, and your discount works for all products, no restrictions. Okay, so a couple of rapid fire questions quickly. Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Okay, strong one right out of the gate. Pirates or ninjas? Who's tougher and why?
Ninjas, because they're sneaky.
Okay, and you're getting ready to have a little boy, right?
Yeah.
So there may be some. Okay, what keeps you up at night?
Right now, my bladder.
I thought that might be it. Okay, fair enough. What's your number one time management tip?
Oh, Lord. Calendar. Just knowing, just like setting a schedule and sticking to it.
Are you super disciplined about staying right on it?
Yeah, totally. I can't do anything without my calendar.
And if we take away the titles, people peg you as the actress, the entrepreneur, who are you?
I have no idea.
That's fair and honest.
A girl in the world, trying to do her best.
I love it. I love it. And final question, what advice would you give to your younger self, Jessica?
You're smart.
Wow. Just to elaborate on that for a minute, I saw a quote from you somewhere, and I hope it wasn't misquoted, but you can tell me. You said it took you a while to realize that you were smart. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I went into an industry where, people are objectified, not just women and men are objectified. And in a way to sell products, not that it's bad, it is what it is. It's the reality of pop culture and entertainment. They package you a certain way and they sell you a certain way to sell their product, whether it's a television product, a movie product, endorsing a product, whatever that is. And sometimes it can be quite undermining, and you lose that there's a human behind it, and there's a soul and a brain. And I think I just started to sort of think of myself, because I was so ambitious to be successful, how they would think of me as this thing. And it took me a long time, especially because I didn't go to college. I had hang-ups about that. But I gathered I love to learn, and I love to sink my teeth into things, and I never think that I know more than I do, and I ask a ton of questions, and yeah, it took me a while for me to embrace that I'm smart and that I deserve to be here. I felt for a long time like I was an imposter.
I really appreciate you sharing that too, and just the vulnerability in your answers, and very relatable and helpful, just really helpful. And I wish you nothing but the best of some smooth sailing as you get ready to welcome your new addition to the family.
Thank you.
Thanks you
so much.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the show. Hit me up on social media to let me know what you think. I'm at Amy Jo Martin on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I want to hear your Why Not Now moments so I can share them on the show. Just send me a note to whynotnow@amyjomartin.com. For show notes and other offers, you can visit amyjomartin.com/whynotnow. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email newsletter for exclusive content and announcements. A big thanks to Rock Salt Music for all of the tunes by the talented John Coggins. And of course, a hat tip to Richard Brewer for editing and producing the show. I'll see you next time. And until then, why not now?